Okay, mic check. Should be able to hear now. Also see as well. Welcome, welcome. Earthquake time, earthquake. Mr. Blue here, TradePhantoms.com. Get this set up. Hopefully y'all are well and safe. Yesterday was kind of crazy. Crazy's good. Volatility is here. Be patient. Do not be overreactive and emotional. Be logical. What's going on, Bucket? Good morning, everybody. And we're gonna take this day in as it comes. Today's date is what? Thursday, right? Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Happy holidays, everybody in there. Yeah, just don't be, financial markets, right? Financial markets, you always have to be in a state of logic and control. Try not to be in an emotional state. That happens. You gain more as you gain more experience. You will start to as you gain more experience, right? I've traded through multiple crashes before in my career, which is great because you gain a lot of experience regarding that, right? So yesterday, albeit was a record-breaking move down, how fast it moved was kind of insane because we had a down day, massive down day. Yes, record-breaking after the Fed, but a lot of that move was happening in the last, I'd say, like hour and a half. So it really picked up some steam. But as always, what you want to do is just remain calm, remain patient, and be logical, because if you get into an emotional state, you make bad decisions, especially in trading. So and the money thing, right? The prospect theory. You want to read up on some good psychological books. Read anything behavioral finance, prospect theory. A couple books out there. Thinking Fast and Slow. The best loser wins. Those books are very important. I believe that if you're really serious in trading and investing, one should read those books because it really opens your eyes and your mind into how to think properly, especially regarding trading and investing. So, hopefully, y'all had a good day yesterday. Of course, I could, we went in a live trade room yesterday. I mean, I don't want to go too much into it right now, but I'll sprinkle in some stuff here. All right, I want to kind of go through the process here. And by the way, yeah, this is Mr. Blue here, TradePhantoms.com, right? So I'm going to spend about an hour here and go through kind of a morning routine and kind of give you a taste of what it's like in the live trade room. But yesterday we had a decent little day in the live trade room. We caught some trades. It was good. And then right before the session ended, an hour or two before the Fed, I went over the SPX and we were looking at we were pricing out what's called a bought straddle. I'm sorry, strangle. So ended up buying some calls and buying some puts for each straddle. I bought a 61 call and I bought a 6,000 put. And I did not expect this thing to drop like this, the SPX here it is. And those options, the calls got destroyed, lost on that. And this is what you would want on a bought straddle or strangle. All right, one side is going to be the loser. And then we had the puts just exploded to the upside, exploded. So it was good. I'm hoping everybody, maybe caught some of that. But yesterday was kind of a somewhat surprise because it was, the implied volatility move was only about 6 basis points regarding the, what the SPX was expected to move off Fed, right? Which is only 0.6%. Okay, and then of course, Nasdaq dropped almost 3%. S&P's almost like 3%, give or take, right? So that was a greater than expected move, fairly, kind of surprised, right? So the Fed did what they did; they cut 25 basis points, right? But that wasn't really what really kind of jolted the markets. It was the future expectations of Fed cuts, right? So they scaled that back, right? So they took it from whatever 4 to 3 rate cuts to 2 for next year, right? And the dot plot moved. I'm gonna bring that up for the folks tomorrow. With the dot plot in the live trade room when I have some more time. But also in addition to that, they're kind of starting to now admit that inflation is probably, those numbers from 2% are probably going to have to become higher. Inflation's here to stay. So these prices are just not coming down. So as much as what they expected. So they're kind of admitting now that, all right, yeah, groceries are still high and not sure how much lower that can get. So they're raising their benchmark inflation up. So, market didn't like to hear that right there, right? But in all fairness, too, and we dropped down, right? One of the biggest down moves that we had off the back of Fed, right? However, I will say this, markets are already at like 25% up, 26% up for the year, last couple of weeks of this year. So, a pullback was imminent, right? This is why with the folks I was mentioning, just be careful up here. We could still try to work on some longs here, but be extremely careful because, we could snap down, right? Now, I didn't think it was going to go down as fast as this. A lot of, the whole market right now is like kind of like, whoa, that was okay. That just happened, right? So, just digress it, right? Markets will digest it. We'll see. Be patient. Be disciplined. We'll map out some levels. And today I'm going to be, of course, as always, extremely patient. Pull your VWAPs. All right. I'm going to stay very close to the daily VWAP today. I always am, but just stay very close. Okay. I hear some people say, "Oh, right off the open, I'm going to do this," or "Right off the open, I'm going to do that." All right. Just be patient. Markets can digest. You have a slight gap up. All right. Off of that, we this level up here. For the record, I got some long calls that were like up here for $1.30. Those are down. All right. Still long some Nvidia. All right. That I think I even executed on Tuesday. Right. Which I'll talk a bit about as well. And then I'm not really starting this out like I usually do, but yesterday was a day. And then I picked up some Tesla. Right before we left the room yesterday, I had mentioned the trade room yesterday with Phantoms. I had mentioned that, we had a couple of notes here, be careful up here, day trade stuff, manage aggressive here. I spelled that wrong, aggressive. Then I have nice area location for bullish swings. So we had mapped this out right here. This is what's called a IBI right here on a weekly VWAP rebalance. And from last week's high as well, retest over here. So I picked up some Tesla long calls for December 27th expiration too, when we got down in here. And I gave that to the team. At least the level. All right, but yesterday was so crazy. Everything was happening so fast. I wanted to add even to Nvidia, but I could not because everything was moving so fast. I couldn't even calculate the risks, and I can't take a trade unless I know the risks involved. So, but I managed to snag some Tesla while I was managing, the S&P. The S&P SPX bought strangle, and then I bought some calls in SPY that are going to be down. They're going to be down. I'm going to probably roll those out. All right, but I was also selling short S&P futures yesterday as well, just on negative COGs. I had mentioned to the team we have a couple things that we could do regarding Fed days, 2 p.m. Right, so we always pull our VWAPs, monthly, weekly, monthly VWAP, yearly VWAP, weekly VWAP, daily VWAP, etc. And then on special cases like Fed, which is a special case, I'm still long. Those options. Yeah, I'll speak about that, Modi. Those options that I got long at 598, right in here, that level that we were talking about with the unfilled gap, which eventually got just cooked, right? But I managed the risk on that, $1.30. They closed yesterday at like 50 cents. They might be opening up a little bit, maybe 60, 70 cents, give or take. All right, but if we get a little bit more of a fade rally, okay, even if I don't squeak out of a profit on those, I might just roll those out, all right, and recalibrate the trade. But we'll see, December 27th expiration, so it's next week. So in the event that we do get, everybody's talking about Santa Claus rally, right? And typically we get what's called the Santa Claus rally, where towards the end of the year, we markets just kind of finish up. So, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. Today's Thursday, right? Tomorrow's, of course, Friday the 20th. Today's also options expiration month, or day, I should say, the third Friday of the month. So a lot of things kind of happening here around on the back of Fed too. And then, of course, next week it's Christmas. And then, so we have we have maybe a couple days left, right? Christmas is closed. New Year's is closed. So, we'll see, right? We'll see. Don't panic, right? Don't panic. Could this be the beginning of a bigger pullback down? Of course it could, but we'll adjust that, right? Remember, even if you did want to sell short, okay, you always want to wait for a correctional move to the upside, okay? So even if I did want to go really, 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 really heavy on some swing shorts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay, I would want to be waiting for a pullback up. Okay, that's how trends change. So, we'll see. It's going to be pretty interesting right now. All right, I'm going to take it day by day. All right, map out my levels. Right, and we were mentioning this too, just really quickly. I'm on SPY, by the way, on a daily time frame here. And just referencing this point down here too, where we have this massive unfilled gap. There was another unfilled gap up there, but that's a smaller one, and that's the one that I was working on yesterday. Okay, because markets were pretty, in the implied vol, the straddle, the bought straddle that you could price out for an expected market move for SPX was only 0.6 basis points. So again, that was a big move there, right? Of course, record breaking. So if we do come down a bit more lower, okay, this is still going to be even a better area for us to potentially rotate over here for some engagement bullish, all other things being equal. Okay, so if we're looking at this market overall, we're still in a macro bullish uptrend. I mean, S&Ps are only off what their highs, 3.5%. No big deal. So we're up 26%, touching 27% for the year, just a short last week ago. Okay, a week and a half ago, and then we're down three sub 4%. Okay, all right. Even if we come down here, 6-7% correction, right? That's still fairly healthy. Okay, that's still fairly healthy pullback for this market. So it kind of needed to, right? And a lot of this market that's been being held up was a lot of just the magnificent seven FANG stocks, right? Apple, Google, Tesla, Amazon, etc. at all-time highs, and the equal weighted SPX, the market breadth, as they say, because there's 500 stocks in the S&P. Majority of them are not at all-time highs and are actually down. Not down, but they're weaker, I should say, not at all-time highs, and it's kind of dragging the S&P down. So if FANG goes, if the big mega cap takes bigger pullbacks, it's going to bring the S&P down. So that's another reason why markets kind of got some steam yesterday. Okay, amongst other things. All right, cool. So let me kind of start this out a bit more formally, I guess. Today's Thursday, right? So yesterday was, so we did have some news today. All right, this news here is probably going to be super. It's already past 8:30 a.m. We just had unemployment claims. Okay, great. That's already out. Markets are already reacting. We'll talk a little bit about that. VIX, etc. For today, remaining, all other things being equal, nothing in terms of news catalyst. All right, the big news was, of course, yesterday being Fed, which we were talking about, right? Tomorrow we have core PCE. That's a kind of big one there, right? We're talking about PCE. We were talking a lot about that yesterday in the Fed as well. So that's tomorrow's news announcement. But let's cross today's bridge first. But nothing as a catalyst as news today is already gone. I always pull this up really quick. All right. Demand supply is the backdrop of what Phantoms does here. All right, and so we have monthly, weekly, daily, demand supply, institutional order flow, demand supply, top-down approach, monthly, weekly, daily, orange, yellow, blue is the color code for the for my time frames, if you will. Quick little checklist. All right, bullish candlesticks, mostly going to be important regarding where they are located. All right, bearish candlesticks are going to be important of where bearish candlestick formations are going to be most important where they are located. All right, and then we have the liquidity map here, right? And so that's something that we always reference. All right, and that liquidity map was on fire yesterday when we were pulling VWAPs for the Fed. That's what I forgot to mention that, right? I brought my attention over here for a second, but we pulled VWAP at 2 p.m. and then I pulled VWAP at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 2 p.m. was the announcement, and then 2:30 was when Jay Powell was taking the podium there. As you can see, we were just below it the whole time, right? We were just below it the whole time. So, those long calls and SPYs were a little bit frisky, right? VIX was exploding to the upside, and that's why I had to get short S&P futures and, just managing that SPX strategy, right? So those VWAPs right there are those hit times of Fed, all right? And we had just negative COG fall through, negative COG fall through, negative COG fall through, even late day, negative COG fall through. So it was pretty intense, all right? But if you know what you're doing, all right, volatility is good, all right? Hindsight, I think everybody's saying this now, but it could have made way more money yesterday. Yesterday could have been a life-changing trade. I had a life-changing trade in Tesla a couple of weeks ago, but this was not a life-changing trade. This could have been, though, because the options went berserk. The puts went berserk on these. But the point that I'm trying to make here real quick is, quadrant 1 and 4, we were in quadrant 1 and 4, which is a downtrend. And so the Phantoms traders are trained to know how to identify that, pullbacks, all right, coming up, and then what's called a negative COG, red bar takeout, green below VWAP. Okay. So hopefully y'all got something out of that. All right. But let me start this out a bit more formally. Let me start with the futures. Yeah. So we have, this is Thinkorswim. I'll pull up this chart here, which I kind of do every morning for the most part. All right, so I have the S&P on a daily time frame upper left, of course, NASDAQ upper right, Dow Jones lower left, and then we have Russell 2000, which got cooked yesterday, down 5%. All right, down in here, right? So I'll pop open the S&P futures again for my Phantoms team in the trade room tomorrow. I didn't forget, yesterday was a busy day. I do want to talk a little bit about rollover and charting and things like that regarding futures. So I didn't forget about that for tomorrow morning in the trade room when we have a little bit more time. But for right now, you can see, okay, bull market up, and then boom, we just kind of, one day, right? Markets, that's the thing, one day, and even the last 2 hours, it did a lot of the damage there, right? So market rule number one, anything can happen at any time, right? Mark Douglas trading the zone. So rule number one, anything can happen at any time. So as you can see, we have this massive red candle, right? Big move down. I'm sure we all know what happened yesterday, right? So, we are coming into some levels here. We already talked a little bit about there's an unfilled gap on SPY down in here. Okay, so check your monthlies and your weeklies. All right, I'm gonna go to the monthly and the weekly and the daily chart in a moment on the darker background. All right, but we have some levels here, right? We have some levels here. Some of them are not that great in prime. All right, some of them are fairly decent. All right, if we wanted to get a bit more liquidity, okay, we would probably be coming down into this area here on the S&P futures. Call it 5,800, give or take. Okay, and this is close to that. I'll make a note here. It'd be better to see on the darker background, which I'll switch to in a moment. But this area right here, S&P futures, I'm looking at S&P futures on the daily chart right now. If you just reference I'll just keep it simple, the 5825 handle here, this is where we have the election, the unfilled gap. There's a massive unfilled gap, a huge one here. All right, give or take around the 58.25, all right? If I had a little more time, I'd go in and I'd actually get the exact price, okay? But I want to keep it moving and flowing a little bit here. 58.25, so I just made a note there, massive unfilled gap down in this area here. That's that next one down in here, all right? So 58.25 down to, I would say, 57.30s, all right? Pretty wide zone there, all right? But I'm on a daily time frame, so of course we're going to drill down to the smaller time frames and refine that a little bit there, all right? And just to give you some eyesight here, just in case, because I try to cover as much as I can, and I know I talk fast. But that would be, I got SPY on the left on a daily time frame, and I got S&P futures on the right on a said daily time frame. Okay, so if I kind of maybe like line that up a little bit right there, hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, if you look at the November 5th to November 6th, this is the election, right? Massive gap up, okay? And the markets continue to rally. So it comes in at SPY's 576.73, give or take, right? 576.73. It's a massive unfilled gap there, okay? And that would be equivalent to around this area here in the S&P futures, 5,800, give or take. Does that make sense? All right, hopefully that kind of cleans it up just a little bit there for you, right? So yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. Now we're at this level right here. So, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if this is probably going to be some, I would not be surprised one bit. There's some liquidity right here if they break this below here, right? So maybe if we do snap down lower, all right, because we could go lower before we potentially go higher, okay? So, in the event that we are going to rally back up, right? And with the level right here, it could be a nice area where we have what's called liquidity, right? Stop out some more people here, right? Maybe get some more people short, chasing, right? Breaking the level here. Oh no, here it comes. And then we come deeper into some monthly, weekly demand, okay? And some massive unfilled gaps here, okay? These gaps like to fill, and what it would be could potentially get off yesterday's news, okay? This could be a nice little push lower to get down into here, okay? So yeah, just keep that on your radar, all right? NASDAQ is here, daily time frame here. There's a couple levels down in here lower as well. NASDAQ, if I compare the NASDAQ QQQs on the left to the S&P futures on the right. I'm sorry, NASDAQ futures on the right, NASDAQ to NASDAQ. NASDAQ already filled one of their massive gaps down in here. All right, the election gap, what, November 5th, or the, what is it, November, where is it here? Where are we? That's over here. All right, that's over here. So, you know, NASDAQ has a couple of other levels even before, because NASDAQ has been a bit more stronger over the past couple of weeks. So the election gap fill is down here in NASDAQ futures. So that would be NASDAQ futures probably 20,000, give or take, 21,000, all right? Well, I should say 20,100, 20,100, 20,200. That would be kind of the election gap fill on NASDAQ, okay? But NASDAQ has a couple of levels right in here before we potentially get down there, if we even get down there, okay? So, which, you know, we might not, okay? That could be a low for now, and then we just kind of fade higher, right? So we'll see. We'll take it as it comes, all right? There's another little unfilled gap right down here in NASDAQ, 509.85, small one right there. That would be NASDAQ futures, call it 21,000. Okay, so 21,000 NASDAQ futures, you know, give or take 20,100, give or take, are going to be some nice little hit spots for some levels that we can lean against to potentially see if this market wants to put in a nice little rotation. Okay, after this pullback. All right, I'm hoping that kind of helped and clarified things. Dow Jones, oh my God, I've been hearing Dow Jones. Dow Jones has been down for 10 straight trading days. Hasn't happened since 1675. The amount of times I heard that is just like, okay, I get it, we get it. All right, massive down here. But again, if I look left, folks, if I look down and left, we are coming into some demand zones, okay? So that's what I'm saying. Just be careful, you know, don't be so emotional, all right, with it. All right, be logical, all right, trade the tape. And be prepared and identify your zones, and don't get married to a trade or an idea, okay? Learn how to cut and move on if proven wrong. All right, so I got the well, I got the monthly here, I got the weekly here, I got the daily here, darker background. I'm sure you could probably see that a little bit better now. All right, and folks, even if I just real quick, even if I look over here on the monthly time frame, all right, look what happened, right? I mean, we dropped down, yes, albeit, but if I look at the monthly, is this monthly time frame still in a healthy uptrend? It is, right? I mean, we're not even close to last month's low, meaning November, last month's low here, okay? Sometimes markets will even just come down, okay, and retest some last month's low, things like that, right? And we're only halfway through. We only gave back half what November put in, right? Okay. So, and if I look at the weekly, I mean, we do have some pivot right here on the weekly. Okay, so there is stuff right there, right? Now, if we get lower down in here, which we just kind of discussed, right? That unfilled gap, the election gap in November 5th, right? There's weekly here in the middle, all right? There's some demand here even as well, all right? And this is not a small time frame, folks, okay? This is the monthly and this is the weekly, okay? These are big time frames, all right? So if I look at their 20-period moving average, we have a 20-period moving average here on the SPYs. All right, nice uptrend here, and we're pulling back. All right, we're pulling back, which is fairly normal. Okay, so you can see the gap right there. I have this yellow. All right, that lets me know that I have a drop, a bit of a basing, and then a rally. Okay, right here, SPYs, 570 handle, right, and that's very close to last month's low. In addition to that, okay, so as you can see, this is why I color code these things. I color code, right, monthly, orange, yellow, weekly. Right, so I got last month's low here on SPYs, which I have mapped out on TradingView as well. I even have October low right in here too. And then we have what? We have a demand area here on the weekly. All right, one lower. There's still one right here in the middle that, we'll see how this reacts. We'll see if we can we just spoke a little bit about that. If we get some liquidity, pick up some liquidity, snap down. All right, and then there's that unfilled gap down here. Okay, all right, on the daily time frame. All right. There's the gap right there. So we'll see, right? We'll see. So if you look, right, if you're on the small time frames, yesterday looked like it was a market crash, right? And oh my God, world ending, right? So scale back, okay? Scale back, go onto higher time frames, take a deep breath and analyze what prices are coming into on the higher time frame macro picture. Can't stress that enough, okay? Okay, enough of that. Well, while I'm here real quick, I'll just take a peek at Qs before I move over to the NASDAQ futures and S&P futures, which I typically do, which will map out our Globex traps, highs and lows. All right, and the same thing, even QQQs, I got monthly here, weekly here, daily here. Even yesterday, that drop that we had it hasn't even really gave back half of what it did in the month of November. Okay, so again, we have last month's low here, all right, on Nasdaq, all right, which is represented right here, and then we have some demand here. Long story short, all right, I don't know how many times I can say it, right? It's kind of annoying. I'm gonna move on. All right, I'm annoying myself. Right, so we have some stuff down in here. All right, some weekly, monthly, right, weekly demand, right, and there goes the levels, right. There goes the levels down in here. All right, so just map out your high time frames, monthly, weekly, daily. You'll be all right. And just be patient and logical. Be patient and be logical. All right. Cool. All right, so let me go over here. I'm gonna switch this back over to the S&P futures. I got the 60-minute time frame here, upper left. I got the 30-minute time frame, bottom left. I have the 5-minute here to 2-minute here. All right, smaller time frames now. All right, we kind of went over the macro, bigger picture after that nice move yesterday down. And then now we're on the smaller time frames, right? So a lot of lines here. And yesterday, long story short, yesterday was an outlier. VIX exploded. It was up 73%, right? Closed, and it was just going berserk, right? So I'll get to the VIX in a moment. But we had levels here, and we had some like aggressive levels. Be careful with these aggressive levels. And markets just said, screw all of these little small time frame levels, and it just blew out, right? Any little level that was already tested just got annihilated, and then we came deeper down, right? So I gotta delete these because I gotta clean this chart up. Typically, I don't like to delete them because I would like to show people how markets respond into certain levels, okay? Now, for the record, I did not take any Globex trap longs yesterday in the S&P futures. Okay, I did not do that because once the Fed came out, we were below view up and VIX was spiking. I actually had to get short S&P futures, okay, to hedge some of my SPY calls that when I got in, they started to get they were not great. Okay, I bought them for $1.30, so it's not going to be the end of the world, even if that's wrong. Okay, hopefully y'all are okay with that. All right, $1.30 on risk. But yeah, for the record, I was like, okay, screw this. I am not going to try to pick off a bottom here, right? That SPY call trade is like more of a swing trade, okay? I'm going to try to recalibrate that over the next day or two or early part next week, seeing what happens here and closing in the week on Friday, okay? The good news is, with options, you can't lose no more than what you pay for the option, right? So worst case scenario, I lose $1.30 on calls. And, I position size accordingly for that if that's the case, okay? The point that I'm trying to make here moving on is that I got to delete some of these levels here, right? I got to clean this chart up just a little bit because it's getting madness. But what I am going to try to do is keep a couple of ones on that were fairly good demand zones, okay, that broke and that we could potentially use as reference for supply zones on the other side, okay, just for some reference point, right? We're going to map out, of course, our Globex high and our Globex low in a moment. All right, so couple of those levels here was we had this low range, right? And then markets kind of broke this low range, okay? So this 60-40, okay, I'll keep the 60-50, 60-40, okay? And, I'm going to delete a couple of these here, like the 60-20s and the 6,010, just to clean up a couple of these, okay? And what I want to try to do is keep the ones that had a higher time frame reference, okay? Meaning that, see how we had, this was the impulse correction, impulse. This was the impulse level of control in the daily time frame that needed a hold for the pivotal point, right? And then we snapped that, right? So I deleted a couple of the ones that were in the middle. This was the pivot point. So I'm gonna keep that one here to see how market's gonna respond coming up into the correctional snap right here, right? I'm hoping that makes sense, okay? So that being said, getting back to the 60, that would be up here, okay? So it was once, demand, okay, support, right? We broke it. We could use this as a reference, 60-50, 60-40, okay, to see how market's going to react and respond up here on a retest, okay? All right, now if I map out my Globex trap or Globex high, I should say, right there, blue line represented right there, overnight space, Globex, gray space and thicker swim. 1 hour time frame here, S&P futures, Globex low being right there. You see that little candle right there? There's a candle there. All right, doji. All right, that's where we're at, right? So if I have a Globex high, here's a Globex high, if we break Globex high, do I have supply up and left? Now, if I look at the 60-minute time frame, there's nothing there, right? There's nothing there. You won't see the formation, retest level. I would have to drop down to a small time frame, which you always want to be a little careful with, all right? But let me see. The 5 is what I'm going to have to just do for right now. So here's the drop of yesterday, right? So do I have some drop-based drops IBI supply, some of my Phantoms team that's been around for a little while now, up in here at the 60-30 handles? Give me a yes or a no. Now I'm on a very small time frame, I'm on a 5-minute time frame, S&P futures. So we have a couple of drop-based drops here, right? IBIs to the downside. Okay, hopefully y'all can see that. All right, so this could be a potential Globex trap. Let me make this Globex trap short. Let's see if I can make that a little bit brighter so y'all can see it better. 60-40. G-trap short. And then 60-50 handle here. G-trap short, right? All right, so we have to reference that no matter what. We have another one up here too. I kept these levels on because that was the upper range as well that was holding, okay, on SPYs. All right, and I'm just gonna copy and paste these lines to save a couple of seconds here. All right, that comes up here. All right, now remember, I had to come down to a small time frame regarding these levels. So be careful with these ones here, right? And remember, this is still a macro bull market, albeit yesterday was a massive sell-off, right? Correctional day. You know, this will be interesting, right? Because we still have some carryover, right? So it's hard to explain with my experience, but how to say it very short and sweet, because we have 12 minutes before the open. But even if we are going to rally and continue up, right, we could have some reaction off of this, right? So even if you are long those SPY calls, okay, we do rally up into here, okay, up in here, those calls might start to get back into at least either break even or maybe even slight gain or maybe small loss. That could be an area where you could potentially roll, okay, roll and recalibrate your SPY calls, okay. All right, and then in futures, if you are getting long or if you're already long, because we are above VWAP right now, daily VWAP, VWAP, that white dash line there, this would be where you want to be taking some profit. And then again, you could potentially elect to take a short-term trade scalp short to see how market's going to respond here. Now for the macro bulls, if this level gets absorbed and gets taken out, well, boom, we might be fading this whole move back up. Okay, now I'm not expecting that to happen all in one day. That was a massive day. Okay, so we could have a couple of inside day. We can, today could be an inside day. All right, you never know. Don't be emotional. Trade the tape. All right, trade the tape, trade the tape, trade the tape. All right, I'm going to be staying very close to VWAP here. All right, but we got 60.85, 60.95 up here, even number 6100, and then we got 60.50 handle right up here as well. Okay, all right, I'd look out for a little bit of a stop loss sweep right here, right above this little basing drop IBI here for my Phantoms who know, right? Stop loss sweep. All right, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I'm just going to grab my coffee. I'm going to move on here. But here's the website here. Grab my coffee. But if you want to learn a bit more about that, you hit TradePhantoms.com there. Hit the register button there. There's a class tonight if you want to learn a little bit more about the IBI, institutional demand supply. All right, NASDAQ. Oh, Globex trap long. Let me go back here. Boop, boop. We have some levels down in here, right? So we already kind of talked about this. This is the massive unfilled gap, 5800s, all right? But we have to cross this. We have to break these levels over here too, right? So that's a reference point. Liquidity sweep on SPYs, we already kind of talked about that on that weekly level. But 58.88, 58.88. There's a couple levels in here, but these levels are not like super high quality, right? So just be careful with that. All right, we could, again, it might not happen today, but we could swipe below that level, all right, and go to that unfilled gap on SPYs down here. All right, so we are here right now, and there's some levels below. All right, these are all tested though, so that's why we have to be a little more careful and cautious on this. All right, what's the low right now? Is the Globex low is a 5906 handle. So if we break 5906 handle, these levels here at 58.88, and then we got 58.55. All right, there's that. This is the weekly low weekly and daily pivot low. Some of y'all might be getting lost in translation here when I switch over to the charts, but you know, I eat charts for breakfast, so I just gotta know where I'm at. Been doing it a long time, so yeah, this could be an area where you might want to pick off potentially a Globex trap bullish. All right, assuming VIX is not exploding to the upside. NQ, VIX is calming down a bit too. All right, NASDAQ, we got some levels down here. In fact, 21,245. Decent little IBI right below Globex low. Okay, that's a little decent one right there. All right, to potentially pick off. Globex high, Globex low. Globex high here. Globex low. Swiped down here. You know, this level, you know, came deeper down. You know, this level kind of worked out. I'm not sure if anybody picked that off yesterday. All right, 21,000. These levels got cooked out, right? 21,700 here. All right, G-Chap long, and then, you know, came lower. Markets came lower into deeper demand zones. Okay, we had the 2130s here. All right, bounced off there for now. All right, now if we get lower, we have 2145. I'm sorry, 21,245. 21,245. I had mentioned that. All right, and then you know, same thing, right? If we this was once kind of some kind of area of demand that was kind of holding up the market, holding up the market. J-Powell came out, Fed came out, boom, slam, right? So this could be the retest area up here. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you the prices. I'm just gonna turn these pink. All right, we gotta move on. 7 minutes before open. We got a lot to cover. All right, so 22,100, 22,155, 22,200, give or take up there. All right, Globex trap short. I would have to go to a smaller time frame to see a formation of a drop, a base, and a drop there. Okay, now I zoom in on yesterday's action. Okay, and there you have it right there, right? A dropping, a base, and a drop right in here. Okay. I just covered ES. I literally just covered it, and I gotta move on. I just covered it all. So I gotta move on, brother. All right, I literally just covered it. This is recorded, so you can always catch the recording. But there's so much other things that I do that I have to move on right now. All right, so let me just clean this up. These levels got cooked, man, right? So yesterday. So again, I wasn't trying to pick off you know, Globex trap yesterday or after the Fed. It was kind of nuts. All right, there is a little IBI right here too. I want to be careful with that one. This would be a bit aggressive, but for the record, it is a little drop base drop supply right above Globex high, but be careful with that. All right, it's kind of in the middle of yesterday's range. All right, I'll just pin 21,850. Fair enough. Nice even number 2. Aggressive Globex trap short. All right, we got 5 minutes less. Market open VIX. Well, let me do. I guess I can go gold real quick. Gold futures. I'm selling gold puts, GLD puts today. But gold, you can maybe rewind some of the recording. So gold actually snapped this level that I was mentioning here. We're coming a little bit lower here, right? So gold's getting interesting down into these areas here. You know, I mapped out that 2600. These levels were super aggressive here, inside bar here. I've been talking a lot about that. And then, you know, gold swiped down, just, you know, fresh IBI, boom, pull back up, coming back down. I'm going to be a lot more interested in it for longer term plays on the 2550 handle. All right, so I'll talk a bit more about that. The next level of IBI, I mean, I'd want to be a bit more conservative with you folks here. So 2570 handle is going to be a decent little one right there. But of course, if this gets down to 2540, that's going to be very interesting. I get the weekly demand zone right in there. All right, I will say in ES, this bar potentially could be closing as what's called a potential, you know, a COG, positive COG. Okay, so that's pretty interesting right there. All right. All right, and the 5 minute just put one in as well in addition. All right, so markets are trying to fade higher. All right, but volatility is going to come in to play in a short 3 minutes. VIX up massive yesterday, right? Slight gap, not slight, kind of decent gap down here today, right? VIX up, market down, VIX down, market up, right? So yesterday VIX exploded to the upside, all right? And markets dropped, right? So if you're ever confused about the correlation and the relationship between VIX and overall markets, reference yesterday, all right? VIX up, market down. Question is the VIX going to continue? All right, so if the VIX continues to potentially spike up, it's down so far pre-market, so markets are kind of, it's still elevated overall, but it gapped down overnight. So typically, if market's going to continue to sell off, you'd see VIX continue to hold up its highs and potentially go higher, right? Now we're going to be opening soon. If this thing does continue to rally potentially, okay, then we could be on for another little down day right there, right, below VWAP. All right, but we want to map that out on the higher time frames and the small time frames as well. Okay. I could spend a lot more time on VIX, but I got to keep it flowing right now. We have markets opening in a couple minutes here. SPYs, slight gap up. All right, yes, gap up doesn't mean that we're going to continue to go up. All right, massive range bar yesterday. Qs, slight gap up. GLD, as mentioned, nice down day yesterday. I'm selling some puts today. Okay, definitely selling some puts today. Massive down day yesterday. Bonds, I got to talk to my team tomorrow. Phantoms trade room here. Bonds rate bond. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Market's about to open. See if I can find some stuff for us this morning. Apple. All right, slight gap down. Amazon, gap up. Mid-range yesterday. Into yesterday. I'm on daily time frames here. Google, mid-range gap up. You're not mapping out the high and low of 1600, which is 4 o'clock. I'm just mapping out yesterday's high, yesterday's low here, Jason. Slight gap up, halfway gap through here. Long Tesla, good. These might be in profit off open here. AVGO, so some, a lot of stocks are slight gap up here, right? Into yesterday's range. All right, so be extremely patient here this morning. Apple's the only one that is gapping slightly down. So that's interesting. Quote, NVIDIA, long NVIDIA for the record here still, yeah. Some of y'all might have added to this. I added to Tesla, but I didn't have enough time to add to NVIDIA. I was talking about the VIX. Usually I see start overnight session. Oh, I see what you're saying. The VIX. Yeah, I mean, it gapped down. You can map out here. This is like yesterday's high. This is kind of like the overnight session here, but the basing is on the day overnight, mainly here. So I want to see how this gap is here. But yeah, you can draw two lines here. Draw one there, draw one there. That's fine. All right. But the VIX is it's a volatility index, so it doesn't trade like a stock. All right, volatility is different. Market open. Let's see what we got here. All right, be extremely patient. All right, let me just check internals real quick. Get a pulse on it. All right, don't get too excited just yet, but we do have advanced declines up pretty significantly. All right, plus 1,000. All right, extreme would be 2,000, but it's advanced declines are up. A lot of stocks are gapping up here this morning. Off yesterday. We'll see if that continues. All right, Vol D volume is up strong right out the gate, very early. Okay, but this is Vol D volume up versus down volume on the New York Stock Exchange. Plus or minus 3 would be extreme, very early, but right now it is clicking a positive 3.85, which is fairly significant. We'll see if that holds. All right. All right, let's continue. So you can see S&P futures, in fact, are breaking that, snapping the overnight high right now, looking like it printing that positive COG on the 30-minute time frame. All right, so S&P futures have a nice little positive COG, putting in Tesla up. patient. Apple was the only one that had a slight gap down. So Apple be relatively more weaker. The only challenge with Apple is we're coming into, again, as said, we're coming into some demand here. So I want to be, it's hard to short into this demand level right there. JP Morgan has decent little move there. Off open. Visa decently off the 20 here. Visa looking interesting for a long call. Strong stock, decently strong sector. Banks coming out the gate fairly strong here. All right, so JP Morgan put in a nice little 2-minute bar print here. Above daily VWAP. NVIDIA gap up, fading down a little bit. Come on, man. We'll take a swim. Come on, take a swim. All right, JP Morgan looking halfway decent. We are in a little bit of a small little baby time frame, but S&Ps are rallying up into breaking the overnight high. So we see JP Morgan, long call. S&P is about to touch 6,000. If you're long, you can maybe scale out some. JP Morgan, December 6th expiration here today, day trade. Let's see. If I pick up the 237 strike call there, those are going for about, spread's kind of annoying on JP Morgan. Those are going for about 97 cents, give or take. All right, could have a little reaction off this little small time frame right here, but I'm going to fix on long call here, JP Morgan here. All right, 237 strike call. Going for about $1 there. JP Morgan. All right, just got filled at 90. I just hit market. They filled me at 91 cents because the spread is fairly wide. All right, S&P futures touching over 6,000 there. Lily is looking good. I remember that yesterday. Visa. Yeah, AMD is coming out of some weekly demand. The challenge with it is, I mean, I like how we did swipe below that weekly low, but it is in some weekly demand. It's been tested one time, monthly low. I do like that it swiped below there yesterday. But AMD out of the semiconductors is a little bit more weaker relatively. So I'm being selfish, but I wanted to see if we can get down to 100 on AMD. But yes, you're correct. We are at some kind of weekly level here. But I just want to be careful trying to pick off these bottoms here with this market, yesterday's madness, right? So I just want to be a little careful with bullish exposure, at least for right now. All right, so we have, let me see which one we have. So, okay, SPYs are a little bit more stronger than, say, S&Ps. So I'll keep those Fed view ups there. We pull this daily view up here. that's gonna be too confusing, so I'll just delete these. All right, so I got SPY VWAP right there. It'd be pretty interesting to see if we snap below that VWAP there. Amazon already fading its gap. Google is not. Tesla already fading its gap. All right, so most things are fading the gaps there, right? So FANG is extremely important right now because it is the only thing holding this up. We still got some NVIDIA calls, took some really good profits on that yesterday. Some of them are floating down a little bit there now. So you can see SPY's fading, right? Just for right now, we got to fix up. Just check GEX real quick. So far negative. On volume and open interest. So a lot of activity down here in options profile here. Some bot puts, sold calls, looks like an iron condor here. $75, all right. So the irony is be patient, folks. Apple was one of the weaker gaps, but it's actually holding above its VWAP, while Amazon was one of the stronger gap ups, but it's fading its VWAP. Be patient, folks. Be patient. Be patient. Got my eye on Tesla gap fill already. Let's see if it reclaims VWAP. All right, JP Morgan's trying to go there a little bit. Visa is a long setup. Monthly, weekly, daily up. Visa, long call. As I wait for the market to digest a little bit. 317.5, day trade expiration the 20th, right? Quick little day trade here for today. Long call, what is it going? 139-ish. 317.5 call Visa. All right, I got filled 138. Hit the market on that. Long call Visa. Day trade. All right, JP Morgan trying to, just a little something there. It's trying to pump up a little high there, but nothing too crazy. But we need a little more pump on that. Looks like it's going no. All right. Apple had the worst gap as mentioned, but it's fake. So let me see, what is the AVGO? Tesla looking like it wants to call my name. I picked up Tesla yesterday more. All right, but let me see if I could wait for a positive COG close right above this red bar here. So it's forming, but it has to prove more to me. Apple, the irony on the gap. Looks like up down, it's actually one of the stronger ones here. So Apple looking interesting too. Not formed yet. Netflix, somebody had mentioned Netflix front side coming into the rising 20 on daily. Yeah, if anybody got in that was a nice little level right there. Nice little gap up. Today giving a nice little positive COG here. SPYs are trying to go. All right, might be looking like a long setup here if we clear this bar. So interesting. The S&P futures have cleared the official positive COG there. So at least for today, the bulls are trying to, buyers are trying to take it back. All right, JP Morgan, we could take, man, the premium, JP Morgan spread is so wide, it's so annoying. That's one thing that's annoying about it. That looks looking good. Just still be patient, waiting for this thing to kind of develop here. Be patient, folks. Netflix looking fairly decent. It's trying to, but again, we have to just be a little careful with our bullish exposure, that's all. Is Tesla developing a little bit there? Nope, see how it didn't give me the setup. All right, we didn't close above this, so. Yeah, widespread on Netflix, Jason. Yeah, that's one of the things that's annoying too. Good stock though. All right, we're looking this thing looking like it might want to fail a little bit there. So VIX not giving me much to say. Cumulative tick slightly down very early. Vol D was up. Advanced declines are up. They're kind of fading a little bit, but just be patient. Vol D is still up 3 to 1, give or take. But we're breaking down a little bit on VWAP on SPYs, right? So you can't argue with that, right? That is what it is. Now we have. I'm trying to find one of the weaker ones there. You can see AMD. It's up for the day, but it's up for the day on a gap up, like a lot of things. But you can see it's kind of breaking down more, right? So see how AMD is a bit more weaker, relatively so. So AMD short, that's one of the ones that are more weaker today, where I would want to elect to have bearish exposure. All right. So let's see, we have a December 20th expiration here. If I pick up, for right now, while it's a little early, what time is it? Is that 1:19? I'm sorry, yeah, it's 9:46. Man, it's already time to go. Which I don't want to, but because of because I'm looking for the market to digest a little bit here, I'll pick up the 40 delta. I'll pick up the 120 strike put. 120 strike put. They're going for about what, $1.42 here. So this is AMD a short, a bought put. All right, Scott filled on these at 135. All right, negative COG close print, we already swiped below last week's low yesterday, and then not last week's low, that weekly low, not last week's low, but weekly low. So we already tested it one time. So if we negative COG, that's it. So I got to follow that. It's more one of the weaker stocks here. So I want to attack weakness against weakness, right? So long put. We'll see if we get some continuation here. All right, we are at that level, but it's might be on the snap. All right, we'll see. Alrighty then. All right, Visa and JP Morgan are up a little bit. If you wanted to kind of squeak out of a little profit, I mean, it's not a lot to write home about, but I mean, it's really nothing to. Oh, there we go. Visa's kind of going a little bit there, I guess. If you wanted to scale out a little bit, you could. All right. All right, first 15 minutes of put in. Opening day's range, and we're range bound right now, so be patient. Got to know when to do nothing. Tesla, let's see, it's setting up. The 2 minute just gave us a nice little positive COG. Yeah, I'm probably going to be waiting for a 5 minute at least minimum here, positive COG. We have 12 minutes before the first 30-minute bar print. So Tesla's definitely on the radar, but it has to prove to me. It has to prove to us. All right, and again, this would be a bullish trade, and if markets kind of continue to fade down, SPYs and Qs below their daily view upper right now, right? So I have to put that into perspective. All right, Qs are actually a little bit more weaker, but they're stronger overall. You got negative GEX. I'm checking some SPX levels too, but I'm already 4 minutes over the time that I like to do this. The colored bookmarks are just I just color code them. It's not that's probably not important as of right now, brother. It's just a watch list, man. I just color code it so I can see certain things here. Like Fang, I color blue, things like that, man. It's just it's nothing serious. It's not the greatest time to ask me 20 minutes before the open. Negative COG print on SPYs. Not trying to be a prick. Let's see. SPY long puts. I'll do tomorrow's expiration, offset some theta. Implied vol is high, so these are fairly higher priced than usual. Well, we can try to work on this. Okay, if I pick up, say, I'll go like a 35 delta here. If I go for the, I'll just clean this up so you don't get confused. The 587 put, you're going for about, what, 228 right now? Tomorrow's expiration, so I want to offset a little theta, okay? Tomorrow's expiration, so 587 put, this would be a day trade. Not going too crazy with this one, but I gotta go with what the tape is telling me. And I just filled these at 243 was the fill that I had just received with that thing there. okay? Is Tesla doing it for us there? I'm gonna put here. If this thing just makes new high, you know, just probably cut out of it. All right. Just cut out of it. You know, I'm staying close to VWAP and SPYs today. This long put bearish. Let's see, is Tesla Tesla-ing? It's trying to definitely. 2-minute positive COG. 5 is trying to clear there. Looking halfway decent. JP Morgan, Visa up like slightly. I'm going to shave out of some JP Morgan here. It's not really much right now. It's kind of blasé. JP Morgan's up a little bit here. I mean, take some here. Why not? It's something for now. I just took profit personally, got a 107 fill. So I just took some profit on JP Morgan here for the record, okay? Not a lot, but, you know, things are not really moving that much. Market's just kind of like digesting right now. And JP Morgan is a long trade, and markets SPYs are below VWAP, right? So I want to be careful with that. Visa was up a little bit. I don't know if anybody took some profit on that. I mean, it's not a lot, but you know, down like what, 2 pennies at break even right now. AMD just pulling back to its VWAP. Let's see if we can get a negative COG print here. Again, maybe we get some fall through to the downside. SPY just took a little clip down, no big deal, but you know, clip down a little bit there. Very small. And like I said, I want Tesla to kind of prove to me a little bit more, right? You gotta be patient, you gotta be patient, you gotta be patient. All right, if you wanted to kind of scalp out some SPYs there, I mean, I'm not sure, what is it, up a couple cents, no big deal. But yeah, they're up pretty decent on SPYs. Visa pushed back a little bit, right? All right, we can take some profit on SPYs, 243 to 270s. That's not bad. SPY puts, you know, those are up a little bit there. My long calls from yesterday, December 27th expiration, are down. So I gotta work on those today, this afternoon. He's going for 270s, but I just got 260 fill on these. So again, nothing too crazy, but something is something for right now. Does VWAP play a lot into it? You go long or short? Yes, absolutely. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was trained in New York City off of VWAP. There's a whole thing there that we need more time to explain, which we don't have because I'm already 10 minutes overdue here. So this is where we entered short puts, or enter, or entered, I should say short, yes, bearish in the form of buying a put. All right, and then very small, just kind of grinding right now. Took a little profit right there, no big deal. And we'll see. 2-minute COGs are basically a 5-minute COG, right? Not really, because the time is different, right? So you want to line up the 5 and the 2, right? It could be different, right? Look at Tesla. You had a couple of positive COGs on the 2-minute time frame, but it didn't really print a. Well, let me see if my facts are straight first before I answer that. There's a TP here, just a little baby one. Tesla. Right. Let's see. So see how we have like positive COG on the 2. We have another little positive COG on the 2 here. All right. If I look at this is a red bar here, wick here. We still, I don't want to be tedious, but I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Because everything's about details. The 5-minute, even though this is a red bar here, a little green bar here, but this, we would see how this is the red bar that is in play here, right? And there's a little wick right here. We still have not had a positive COG close on the 5 just yet. We had a couple on the 2. Right? Now, what will happen here sometimes is the 2-minute gave a positive COG, 2-minute gave a positive COG, but the 5 did not yet, right? And then what if the 5 over the next several minutes they close right down here, right? And so it's not giving it to you, not giving it to you yet. So it's right. So now it's tedious, but those little tedious things could make a lot difference in your entries and exits. Right? Being patient. So furthermore, some people will even wait for the third 15-minute to close, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? All right. So be patient, Jason Rodriguez, Ramon. He's a phantom, so I could talk to him like that. Be patient, brother. Don't be itchy. Don't be itchy. Let the trades develop. There's high emotion right now in the market, right? I mean, at the end of the day, right now, so far, it's not at the end of the day, but right now, off the open, the first 30-minute print, the first 30-minute is the market's, we have a gap up, but we're kind of fading down. Some stocks gapped up, fading up. Things are not moving insanely right now. It's very early, okay? But be patient. You got to learn how to be patient, all right? Calm your ass down, all right? The trade will develop, all right? Stop having FOMO, fear of missing out. All right, let the trade develop. All right, don't just click buttons because you think something is going to happen. That's where you get in trouble. All right, in trading and investing. All right, don't think. Wait and let the candle print. Wait and let the market develop for you. All right, and you'll thank yourself later as you see why. All right, as you'll see why. All right. All right, folks. I mean, I don't know. Trade safe. All right. Spies are pulling back a little bit there. All right. Just be patient with things today. Again, let it develop. All right, I got some things to manage and handle over here, just personally. All right. AMD short, JP Morgan long. Can even TP a little bit there. Visa long, we did pull back on that. Be patient with that there. Tesla potentially pending for today. Stay close to spot VWAP. And AMD trying to break down a little bit there. Some news coming out, I believe. Negative COG on the 2 below VWAP there. So we'll see if we have flush through. If we make a new low here, equal to a new low, TP some AMD down in here. All right. SPY's back at like break even. So you be patient, folks, right? AMD's at break even. There's not a lot. And I don't want to keep saying the same ish here, right? So Visa, for the record, did pull back though, right? I don't know if anybody took some profit when it was up a little bit there, but Visa did pull back. So just, monitor that. All right, VWAP. All right, always elect to have a VWAP test here. All right, so don't get too emotional on this just yet. If we snap and we close below VWAP, I'm going to be a little aggressive today, right? Because remember, this is a long, and markets are, SPYs are still below their daily VWAP, right? So This is a long trade if, off the back of yesterday's momentum down, right? SPY just made a new low here, right? So we take some profit. Yeah, Jason, there you go, buddy. That's the way. Visa pulling loss there. SPYs, if you want to take some profit on SPYs, I am here on the long put. I got a 290. What? They gave me 290 on that? Yeah, 290. Just got a 290. How? Well, I got the spike. It just made a new low. That's why. I got a 290 fill on SPY puts. So the only one right now is Visa that's pushing back on its VWAP. So it could test its VWAP. That's normal. How it reacts in response to that. All right, so I'm going to treat this because I'm going to be going soon here, right? So we have a VWAP test. All right, if we bounce off there, if we bounce off that white dash line, by the way, all right, if we try to bounce off there, all right, and we try to get back up equal to a new high, maybe we can distribute some, right? But if we snap and close below here, I'm just going to cut my loss. See if we get a little bounce, and then if we do get a bounce off VWAP, which we may not, we'll see. And then if we do get a bounce, it'll create, we have a little pivot right here. Then it'll give you a pivot to lean against to stop out. Okay. But you might even want to elect to just even stop out, right now. Usually I don't like to stop out right on VWAP. All right, but these are down. Okay, these are down slightly. All right, so you have to give it a little space and time. Again, like I said, I'll give it a little space and time. All right, see if we bounce up a little bit here. Maybe I can reduce a little bit of some contract sizing here, and then I'll have or at least at a minimum, if we do get a little bit of bounce up, I have a pivot area where I could say, okay, after this little bounce up, if we get it, then if this bounces up and then we break this, this is going to be my stop loss. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Okay. All right. JP Morgan pulling back. Jeez. Price action just matter breaking down. Fang's breaking down a little bit. All right, SPY's new lows. All right, 245 to 280s here if you want to take some more profit on these. All right, I got a 302 fill on SPY puts. Premium, that is. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna have to jump off, folks. I got stuff to manage here. All right, so if you want to learn a bit more about this, AMD fixing to make a new low there, make sure you TP. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, my Phantoms, I'll see y'all later today in the other rooms. If you're new and you're like, what is going on, you want to learn a little bit more about that, about this, I should say, go to TradePhantoms.com, click the register button there. And tonight, tonight, December 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you put your name, email there for you new folks, hit register, you get sent a link, about a 90-minute class, give or take. Here's the agenda, what you'll learn, all right? We're all professional traders here, myself, Mr. Blue, Mr. Black, Mr. Green, okay? One of these folks, Mr. Green or Mr. Black, is gonna host that, SPY's new lows. And yeah, all assets, stocks, futures, forex, options, short-term trading, day trading, scalping, all the way up to long-term management and wealth management. Stocks, futures, forex, options, everything, even crypto, right? So Bitcoin based. So yeah, if you want to kind of see what the team looks like, and if it's a good fit, great. If not, that's cool as well. But that's how everybody starts here. And like I said, I'll see some of y'all later in class. Not this one. I won't be hosting this one, Mr. Black, Mr. Green will, but I'll be doing, what do we got? Advanced, we got options today, and we got advanced futures. So Thunder Thursdays. God bless. Take care. Be patient. Trade safe. Be patient. Trade safe. Do not think. Do not fail. Do not think. Do not fail. No emotion. Okay. Trade the price action. Have your plan. Execute your plan. Manage your risk. Relax. God bless. Take care. Blue out. Happy holidays.